tribal trails. The Son of God, He's near. He chose to walk with us these tribal trails.
Welcome to Tribal Trails. I'm so glad you have joined us. We're in Kamloops at the Christ Community Church, and our guest is Linda Nepus, and she is from Musqueam. Musqueam. Okay, what does that mean?
Musqueam means Bear Hills.
Oh, okay. And what language would that be?
That is First Nation Cree.
Okay, so you're Cree?
I am full-blooded Cree.
So what was it like?
Well, I come from Musqueam Samson Cree Nation. I was born into a family of 16 siblings. I was the fifth youngest of these 16 siblings. When my mother was pregnant with me, she had complications in delivering me. So I almost did not make it into life. And what I believe is that my dad was praying for me. And I believe that God heard my dad's prayers and kept me alive. So as I pulled through into my young life, I remember feeling a real closeness with my dad. My dad I was so in love with my dad. And it was like there was a strong bond between him and I. I come from a big family, and I really went through a lot in my young childhood.
When you say you had a hard time?
I was sexually abused at age 4.
Oh my.
Yes. My older brother who did this to me, who is no longer with us, had an STD.
Oh my.
And he passed it to me at 4 years old. But he did not take my virginity. I went through a lot in my young childhood. Okay. My mother was jealous of the love that Dad and I had for each other. And I come from, my parents were both chronically alcoholic. My mother did not like me much because she could see that Dad and I were close. And she didn't like me. She was chronic alcoholic, and times when they would go out partying and doing their thing and leaving us kids behind, then I would be sexually abused.
I'm sorry for that, Linda. Yeah. I know that's hard to overcome. Mm-hmm. And how did that affect you, like for yourself?
I was mentally and emotionally abused. Not just only, and I was also physically abused, sexually abused. I went through all different kinds of abuse in my young childhood. It hurt me, and I was confused. I was angry and didn't know what to do. So in my young childhood, I remember wanting to run away from home, but I was still too young. And when I was young, I remember thinking, when I get old enough, I'm going to run away. And yes, and when I was like 12 years old, I already started to plan on running away. By the time I was 13, I was already running away. I was running away from that hurt and pain of my childhood.
Yeah. So where did you go, Linda?
I went to the city. I went to Edmonton. Looking for a sense of belonging, looking for acceptance, looking for love. But I got all messed up with the wrong people, places, and things. I eventually got caught up with drug addiction, alcoholism, and eventually prostitution. My life was just messed right up. I felt like, well, nobody cares. My mother didn't care for me. I felt like my mother didn't care for me. My father, of course, my dad cared for me. But I thought my older siblings did not care for me. because even they were jealous of the relationship I was having with my dad. I mean, the love between us.
So you ended up in the streets of Edmonton.
Yes.
Did you stay there? How long were you there?
I ran away. I would go to the city, and I was there for maybe a couple weeks, and my family would send the law after me. So the police would be out looking for me. And when they found me, they would take me to a detention center. The detention center, I would be there maybe 10 days and then go to court, and then I was back home again. I did not like being home. So I would run away again and again. Yeah, I ran away from home because of the memory. And yes, I didn't want to think about it or feel it, so I wanted a way out.
Yeah. So when you were on the streets of Edmonton, and you said you went into drugs, prostitution, and did you ever see Jesus in the streets?
No, I did not see Jesus in the streets, but what I do remember when I was that little girl, I believe it was before the sexual abuse, my dad sat me down. I was so used to being close to my dad. It was like I would be on his lap and I would be hugging him and kissing him. I was just that little girl. But he did not want me to sit on his lap, and I found that kind of strange. And he asked me to sit. He sat me down on a chair and was talking to me, and he shared with me God's love. He shared with me about Jesus. He witnessed to me when I was just 4 years old. Before all the abuse happened, he shared with me God's love.
So after Edmonton and running back and forth, how long did that happen? Where did you go from there?
I kept running away if I wasn't going to Edmonton, sometimes I would go to Calgary.
Okay.
And then I would go back home. But then I was always off. I never did like home. I did not like it because of what I went through. So I did not want to be there. So I would always go to the city.
And then where did you go?
Then eventually I made my way to Vancouver.
Okay.
When I
How was that?
I fell in love with Vancouver because of the beautiful mountains and the ocean and Stanley Park, Chinatown, everything. I fell in love with that city. When I went to Vancouver, I still was not born again. I was not born again for quite some time. When I went to Vancouver, I was still living in sin. I was living with common law with a man for 7 years when I was in Vancouver. Not just Vancouver, but we moved to Calgary and then we moved to Edmonton. And then after 7 years, I got kind of tired and bored of being in this relationship with him. And I wanted to just go live my life partying, doing drugs and into alcohol and prostitution.
So you end up back on the streets.
I ended up back on the street, yes.
So how long were you on the streets of Vancouver?
Quite some time. When I left this man, I was 22 years old. I was with him, I met him at 15, and I left him when I was 22. Okay? At 22 years old, I was still living on the street, doing my drug addiction, into alcoholism, and into the prostitution for years. But when I turned 26 years old, I had an older brother who became a born-again believer. And my brother came to witness to me. And that was one of the times that I went back home to Maskwacis. My brother came to share God's love with me. I could see God's love on my brother for real. There was something about him, like his countenance. He had a smile on his face, and I thought, wow, he has something I need. And through the love of my brother, I gave my heart to Jesus.
I've been looking till my eyes are tired of looking, listening till my ears are numb from listening, praying till my knees are sore from kneeling on the bedroom floor. I know that you know that my heart is aching. I'm running out of tears and my will is breaking. I don't think that I can carry the burden of it anymore. All of my hopes and my dreams and my best laid plans are slowly slipping through my folded hands. So I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna learn to trust you now. What else can I do? Everything I am depends on you. And if the sun don't come back up, I know your love will be enough. I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna lay it down. I've been walking through this world like I'm barely living, buried in the doubt of this hole I've been digging, but you're pulling me out. I'm finally breathing in the open air. This room may be dark, but I'm finally seeing there's a new ray of hope. And now I'm believing that the past is the past, the future's beginning to look brighter now. Oh, 'cause all of my hopes and my dreams and my best laid plans are safe and secure when I place them in your hands. So I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna learn to trust you now. Oh, what more can I do? Everything I am depends on you. And if the sun don't come back up, you know your love will be enough. Oh, I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna lay it down.
After I gave my heart to Jesus,
Yeah.
because I didn't really have follow-up,
Yeah.
nobody came to really talk to me and share with me, what I need to do. I went back on the street, and I was going back and working the street again. And
How did that change?
I was already a born-again believer, but a backslidden believer. A lot of times it was in and out of church, even if I was going to like little missions in Vancouver, in the inner city of Vancouver, BC. I would go into little ministries here and there and ask for prayer, and knowing that because I had already felt and experienced God's love, I knew that God's love was real. I remember that from when I was a little 4-year-old, when my dad spoke to me and shared with me God's love, even when I was just 4 years old. And I remember that, and I experienced it, even while I was living on the street, because there was people there in Vancouver on the street that were ministers, even on the street, going out and showing God's love.
So you're no longer on the streets?
No.
What changed that?
I came across this one ministry while I was in Vancouver, and I was still working the street or whatever I was doing. But I remember as I was walking down the street one day, there was a nearby building, and there was a group of ladies inside this building, and something drew me to this building. I went in and I noticed these group of ladies mingling and drinking coffee. And I was interested. So I went in and I asked. And they said, oh, this is the Union Gospel Mission. Oh. I thought, wow, okay. I thought it's the Union Gospel Mission, and they were giving free coffee. And I thought, no, maybe I can, hang out here and stuff. And I got connected with the ladies, the staff ladies that were working with this Union Gospel Mission. And these ladies, I could really see God's love in these ladies. I knew that they had something that I needed. Even though I was a born-again believer, I was just a backslidden believer and struggling with my drug addictions. I almost died in my drug addiction while I was a backslidden believer. I was so close to death. I was so close to death one time as I was shooting cocaine and heroin and drinking at the same time. And
you overdosed?
Yes, I overdosed. I did too much and I fell. And the building that I was living at was a new building. There were concrete buildings, so I hit my head on, and the girl I was with seen my lips turn purple. And she got scared, and she grabbed my keys and went out to call the ambulance. While she was out, I didn't even know, I came to, my head was just so sore after knocking myself out. After she was gone and I came to, I thought, wow, God, what just happened to me? And I was thinking, that was God. He kept me alive. So not only when I was a baby, and even after my dad had passed away, I tried to commit suicide. Then I got into a train accident one time, I could have died. And then with this drug addiction, I could have died. And even another time later, I because of the drug addiction, I was sharing needles. I could have died with Hep C. And the Lord healed me of even that. The Lord healed me of hepatitis C.
Yeah. So after you just about died there, what happened? Was that after you met the ladies, or when you met the ladies?
I believe it was after I had met the ladies.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And how did that affect your life?
It was kind of like a wake-up call for me. I thought, well, okay, God had his hand on my life all my life. And this time, I know that if he did not have his hand on my life, I would have died and been on my way straight to hell. And I knew that. I knew that when I came to, I thought, wow, what just happened? And I could have died in my sin.
So how did that affect your life when you found that out, that it was God that saved your life?
The thing is, I know that I realized that I needed help. All along, I needed help. And I wondered, why isn't there anyone there to help me? If God, if you are real, I know you are real, where are your people? Where is there anyone I could talk to? Is there a counselor? Is there anyone I could reach out to? But I remember he spoke to me and he said, trust me. Trust me. I thought, well, I can't trust people. I tried to trust people, but it didn't work. It kind of seemed like I was always let down or hurt or something by people. But when it came to God, I thought, wow, he's so forgiving. He's so faithful. His promises have always been there. Always been, and his keeping power has always been on my life.
He's calling you. He keeps calling you.
His calling has been on my life for some time.
Calling you back to him.
He would always be there for me. Even through the trials, the hardship, the brokenness, through everything, he would always be there for me. And he showed me that even through all the hardship that I have to go through, he said there will be peace at the end. I got married when I was in the inner city of Vancouver. And when I got married to this man was a mistake. because this man was of a different culture, and he was not good for me. He was a chronic alcoholic, he was a chronic drug addict, and he was a chronic womanizer. And I was hurt, very so hurt by him. I needed to get away from him, otherwise I would have maybe not have been here today. When I was with him, I was being abused, mentally, emotionally, sexually, physically. I was being abused by this man, and I needed to get away from him. And I am so grateful for the ladies at Union Gospel Mission. They helped me out of the downtown east side. The Lord opened the door for me to go for recovery. And it was through Union Gospel Mission.
You mean recovery? What?
Recovery from drug and alcohol addiction, because those were the two things that I struggled with big time. Drug and alcohol addiction, I could have overdosed. I could have died in my sin. I could have died in my sin. Whatever it was, the drugs, the alcohol, the prostitution, whatever it was, I could have died in that. But these ladies were there. And these ladies came to speak to me, and well, actually what happened is I approached them and asked them for prayer. And these ladies gave me an opportunity well, one of the ladies asked me if I had ever been to recovery.
What is recovery?
I had no idea. At that time, I had no idea what recovery was. And I had asked her, and she said that it was somewhere that I could go for help from the problems I was having with drugs and alcohol. So when I thought, well, okay, God knows I need all the help I could get because of the drug and alcohol addiction. So I went for this recovery. It was under Union Gospel Mission, and the place is called Lydia Home in Mission. Yes.
Oh, okay. And how long were you there?
I was there for 3 months. I went in the summer of 2008. I was there for 3 months, and I graduated 3 months. But my mistake was that because I was unprepared, I wasn't really sure what to do. I went back to Vancouver, back to my old surrounding, which was a no-no.
Yeah, back to the streets.
Yes, back to the street, and even back to my ex. I was still married to him then. Yes, and that was a mistake, another mistake. So I was out for about 9.5 months, and I went back because of the problem I was having. I went back to Union Gospel Mission Ladies, the women's UGM. And these ladies had asked me if I would like to go for a retreat with them. The Salvation Army and the Union Gospel Mission had a retreat going at the Sunshine Coast. And they asked me if I would like to go. So I went, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. While I was there, I got a phone call from Lydia Home telling me that they had a bed for me. They had a bed waiting for me. And I thought, oh, wow. And I couldn't even remember applying again for this Lydia Home because I had been there once before. So what happened is after that, I went back to Vancouver. After the retreat, I went back to my home in Vancouver, packed up. The very next day, I was back at Lydia Home in Mission. And I believe that was God leading me back away from the drug and alcohol addiction, away from the bad people, places, and things. So when I went back to Mission, I went back for this recovery again, the drug and alcohol recovery. The Lord blessed me this time. Well, He was always there, but this time after the 3 months, I thought, I don't want to go back to Vancouver. The Lord provided a place for me to stay after I came out of recovery at Lydia Home. I went and I stayed with one of the ladies from church, and I lived with her for 10 months. But then I said, well, God, I need my own place. I need my own home. I went, and this was in Mission. I went to the Native Friendship Center in Mission, and there was a lady there working there, and I had asked about Native housing. And this lady pointed me out to someone I could speak with, and this lady gave me an application form for Native housing. So I filled it out, and then she said, well, you've got to take it into the office yourself. And I thought, oh, I have no idea where this office is. I had this application form, and I called a friend, and she came. She was more than happy to come and pick me up, take me to the office with this application form, talk to the ladies, and the ladies at the housing office said, there's a 5-year wait list, and 5 years, and you have to call once a month. I thought, wow, I don't think I could wait that long. 5 years is a long time to wait. The very first phone call I made, 2 weeks I got in to this alcohol-free, drug and alcohol-free housing in Mission. And I was so blessed with this beautiful home, and I still am so blessed with it. Yes, God blessed me with a beautiful home there.
Are you off the streets?
I am off the streets, and I'm healed. He has been taking me through a healing journey. Now I am healed. I am still going through the journey, but He's healed me big time within the last 7 years.
As I go, pointing souls to Calvary, to the crimson flow. Many arrows pierced my soul from without within, but my Lord leads me on, through Him I must win. Oh, I want to see Him, look upon His face, there to sing forever of His saving grace. On the streets of glory, let me lift my voice. Cares all past, home at last, ever to rejoice.
For the people that are living on the streets, or even the homeless people that may be still dealing with their struggles, their drug and alcohol addiction, or whatever it may be, I know that what God has done for me, He's delivered me, He's healed me, He can do that for you, because His love is real, has always been so real, and His love is there for you, and His love is the only thing that can help you. I just like to encourage you to trust God.
Well, I want to see Him, look upon His face, and there to sing forever of His saving grace. On the streets of glory, let me lift my voice. Cares all past, home at last, ever to rejoice. Oh, I want to see Him, look upon His face, and there to sing forever of His saving grace. On the streets of glory, let me lift my voice. Cares all past, home at last, ever to rejoice. Cares all past.